Sports. Hello, and welcome to episode 6 of the Simulation Superbowl Challenge with me, Chris, and my brother Nick. Today we will be taking you through the rest of the season and then doing a recap of the season as a whole and seeing if we got fired or not as well for the first time. I'm feeling pretty confident considering I went for 4 wins. Nick, you went 7 wins and is feeling feeling the nerves, feeling the hot seat a bit more than me. So yeah, we'll take you through these next couple of games, hopefully get to the end of the season, and then we'll get to the first proper, truly off-season of the year proper.
So as you can see, to start this episode, we come in with a big win against the Rams, who are struggling in this season. And let's see how we do, because we are now no longer on a losing streak, and we've come off with 42 minutes against the Rams. That's huge. Only 1 turnover today, and we completely bossed this game. It's got to be said. Kyler with a nice 300-yard game. Keenum had to come in for a few throws, which is never good. Goff was awful. Edmonds there was our leading rusher. He split the carries with Johnson and did better, which kind of says it all. Robbie Anderson though with a huge game, and Christian Kirk getting 2 touchdowns, which is what I'd like to see. Here on the defensive side, we go up 2 sacks to Ogbonia Okoronkwo, and Birdlaws gets a sack, but Aaron Donald also gets a sack. Buda Baker gets another pick as well, which he's just great.
So it looks like our Raiders have really packed it in as we lose our 7th game in a row, this time to the prevailing Chargers, who are doing rather well this year. We see it actually was pretty close in terms of yards gained, in terms of turnovers. We can check the time of possession and we see that, yeah, again, relatively close between the 2 ball clubs. So a pretty good game, you would think, overall. You see Chargers with Andrew Luck scoring 3 touchdowns there. Memes, again, another mediocre performance at best. We've seen that quite a lot this year. Jacobs didn't get too much going either. We haven't seen Memes run too much either, but he did get some yards there. Renfro has had a really good season, I think, overall. He's been our leading receiver. Zay Jones as well, chipping in with quite a few yards on defense. Let's see if we got any sacks. It looks like we did not, all for Chargers. But Mike Hilton did get an interception, but we continue to lose.
So coming off our big win, we have a big loss. And this game was over before the half, from what I can tell. I'm not really sure how. Tom Brady is still playing. I expect him to retire. Bortles had to come in to throw a touchdown. That's not a good sign. Yeah, just not a good day, I guess, for the whole team. And we got it done in garbage time, so does any of this really matter? No. But also yes, because stats matter. They might end up giving us some awards. But that game didn't go well, and now we're sitting at 5-9. We may need to win one of these last 2 games against teams that are vying for the first overall seed in the NFL. NFC, sorry. I'm watching too many historical AFL videos, so yeah, not a good day. Got some upgrades from it though, as Kyler can now become an 83 overall, which is better than Chris's QB will ever be. We'll go for a scheme fit. He doesn't become 83, but he's still better than Dank Memes could ever dream of being.
The losses keep coming and they don't stop coming, this time falling to our division rivals, the hated Kansas City Chiefs. As we lose by just 1 score this time. As you see, we were slightly outgained, 1 turnover each for each team against Pat Mahomes and his bazooka arm. As you see, he got 3 touchdowns and 1 pick. Memes again, he loves this 1 touchdown, 1 pick game. 250 odd yards. That's his calling card at the moment. Running wise, Josh Jacobs, again, this is his calling card, somewhere between 10 and 15 for about 50 to 60 yards. Seems like we just get a repeat performance from everyone on the team at the moment, to be honest. Let me guess. Renfro is our leading receiver with just under 100 yards and a touchdown. It feels like every game is the exact same. We are living the Groundhog Day in terms of performance, in terms of this team, in terms of sacks, not much, and in terms of interceptions. Corey Littleton, he's had a pretty good year. He's been getting quite a few picks. We saw one of those earlier on in the series. But yeah, another loss as we go into week 16 against the 6-7-1 Panthers. We are currently 3-11.
And in week 16, the Arizona Cardinals defeat the 49ers to pretty much save my job. That's what they've done. 6 wins is enough when you go for 7 wins, I'm pretty sure. And there shouldn't be an issue there. You see 3 touchdowns for Kyler. Not a great day for Jimmy as he gets sacked 6 times compared to just 1 given up by our O-line. Kenyon Drake was back for this game, and he shows that he is a bit better than the other options we've got in the backfield, and we hold Mostert to 2.1 yards per carry. Christian Kirk had a big day with 2 touchdowns here, but Robbie Anderson only managed to get 19 yards off 2 touches. Would love to see him get involved more, but at least we got the win. Gaillard gave up the sack. Let's see who got the sacks. Chandler Jones comes in with 2. Bird Laws, we go at 1 to Buckner. Bingham gets 1. Hassan Reddick, and then Jordan Hicks and Zach Allen split 1. And no interception in this game, but a really good game from us overall, considering the quality of that opponent. And from that, Bird Laws gets himself an upgrade. I'm going to keep him a run stopper to keep the scheme fit. And we're hoping for a chance at Rookie of the Year here, as he's got himself some good stats. Ed and Eddie also gets an upgrade, and I think we do need to work on the run blocking, so I'll go power this time to balance it out.
Do mine eyes deceive me? The Raiders break their 8 game losing streak with a win over the Carolina Panthers 23-20, and it's a big day for the offensive yards gained, at least, as we see again 2 turnovers though, not the best, but a lot of passing yards it looks like for Memes there. 353 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 ints. I said before, he loves a 1 pick game. It looks like he's just trying to keep it dead level, but Newton also has 2 touchdowns, 2 ints. So that's promising at least. Running wise, Jacobs stays with his level best. 14 carries, 58 yards, staying exactly between 50 and 60, just where he wants to be. This time Zay Jones goes big for over 100 yards. Renfro does okay, but Jacobs actually, okay, fair enough. Jacobs does well in the passing game. He gets 62 yards and a touchdown, so that's good to see. On defense, I don't think we got any sacks. No, but we did get 2 picks, so let's see who got them. It was Jonathan Abram and Mike Hilton getting another pick. So that's very positive and a good win for the team overall. Although I will say Darren Waller did get injured in that game. But we also have some upgrades to Walder Bray, 2 of our first round picks, Walder Bray and Dank Memes. We of course are going to go zone because we play pretty much exclusively zone, so it's pretty easy. As his speed goes up, that's a big gain. Here are his stats if you want to know. His ratings I should say. And Memes, again, it just has to be more of a scheme fit. You always want to keep him as a scheme fit. As you see, he gets some awareness. Maybe I'll stop throwing so many picks. And those are his ratings right now. His throw power is still a little low. His accuracies are actually not too bad, but he throws a lot of picks. So having gone through the final game of the season against the Kansas City Chiefs, I'm going to let you guess who won this game. based on those statistics alone. Guess the score in your mind right now. No, it was 38-27, which is actually closer than you may have guessed looking at those statistics alone. You can see actually offensive yards gained exactly level at 414, so it was actually a close game. But Memes outdid himself today. 4 picks and no touchdowns compared to Mahomes. 4 touchdowns and 1 pick. And just a QB rating of 44.3. So where did it go right? Well, Josh Jacobs, it's like a flipped game. Memes does completely terrible, apart from average, and Jacobs decides now is the game to go for just 9 attempts but 124 yards and 2 touchdowns. So a bit weird. In terms of receiving, guess who? Hunter Renfrow, 92 yards. It's pretty much reliable that he just almost gets 100 yards each game. In terms of sacks allowed, Colton Miller not doing the best right there. In terms of sacks for us, Max Crosby got 1. And Mullen and Littleton here also shared a moment with 1. In terms of interceptions, you can see a bunch of Kansas City players there, but Corey Littleton got another pick, which is quite a few games almost in a row there that he's been getting picks. So yeah, we end our season 4-12, bottom of the division, but I should hopefully keep my job and be ready to rebuild this team into a powerhouse. From that game we have some upgrades as well to some pretty key players here. All at the top, starting off with our boy Josh Jacobs, who we're always going to pick receiving back, as obviously we throw it as much as we do, and he's a pretty good running back already, so getting that up is quite important. Zay Jones, who's had a pretty solid season all around, we'll try and make him a scheme fit. He is up for re-signing. I'm unsure if I'm going to re-sign him or not, just because we have a bunch of receivers that are about the same overall as him. Trayvon Mullen here, we will go for zone again just to make him a scheme fit, and as I say, we play zone pretty much all the time. In exciting news, Duncan Biscuits, our 2nd round pick from last year, is actually a superstar. So he is probably going to be a featured player for this team, and I'm going to just try and get his abilities as quick as I can, so I'm just going to go pass protector, keep him a scheme fit, get him to 80 overalls where he can get the abilities, because I think that's the best thing to do.
And so, to end the season, the Cardinals get a win against the Seahawks that keeps them out of the playoffs, which is just the perfect way to go. This is a game that we would have probably watched had I needed to win, but it's not really necessary when, I mean, we were obviously going to win anyway, right? So, Kyler had a decent game, only 1 sack the whole time. Bortles comes in for a few and throws a touchdown, which I'm not really sure why Madden does that a lot. And David Johnson gets 2 touchdowns there, and Kenyon Drake carries most of them for a decent average. Not much in the air. Robbie Anderson has a decent day. Defense, Bird Laws and Michael Davis split the sack, and only Bobby Wagner gets a pick. From that, there's another upgrade for Buda Baker, who seems to get so many. I guess the superstar development does help, as he's now 88 overall, and Christian Kirk, who is only a star, but maybe we'll see that upgrade at some point. I just make him better in the slot. He's now an 84 overall player.
So with the season over, let's go through the standings. You can see here the Chargers and Cowboys with the 1 seeds for each division, with the Browns, Bears, Giants, Saints, Packers, Colts, Patriots, 49ers, Titans and Chiefs all making the playoffs. The Titans and Chiefs, the AFC, wow. The 2 wildcards, both 8-win teams. In terms of where we placed, Nick placed 18th, which means he has the 15th overall pick. And for our Raiders, we came last at 4-12, which means that we have the number 1 overall pick in this draft. And now we are going to go through the stats that got us to those positions. And that should be the end of the episode once we do that. So I'm going to go through my stats first. You can see here that we have a very slightly below average overall offensive performance. In terms of pass yards, we're actually towards the higher amount, which is obviously what we want, and rush yards, we were last in the league. Points per game as well, we weren't last, we were 4th last, which is not great for a team that wants to be built on offense. On defense though, I can tell you that we are exactly last, both in total defense, not the worst at passing defense, and not the worst at rushing defense either. So those are all good. In terms of points allowed though, however, we are joint last with the Titans, who are a playoff team. Sacks wise, yeah, that's not pretty either. We are joint 3rd last on that. And then you can see we didn't get the most turnovers either. In terms of turnover differential, well, the Patriots at 17, I imagine will be towards the bottom of the league, considering Memes and what he did this year. We saw obviously a lot of interceptions thrown by him. Going into the player stats, this is Dank Memes' season. He ended up with 3,848 yards, which is quite a lot. With a 67% completion percentage, 25 touchdowns to 19 interceptions. He was sacked 43 times. Fitz came in for a little while and threw 279 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 int. But for Memes, obviously, if this interception number was 10, you'd be saying he had a great year, great first season. With 19 interceptions, we're probably gonna give him one more year and see how it goes. He could win Rookie of the Year, maybe. We don't know. Rushing wise, Jacobs ended with 768 rushing yards and 6 touchdowns. You know, this isn't really where we view our players in terms of their rushing capability. It's actually quite a good year in terms of what I'm looking for. He averaged 4.3 yards per carry, so that's a pretty good year. Memes as well got 202 rushing yards with 2 fumbles. Renfro just missed out on 1,000 yards. He had a very good back end of the season, as we know. And Zay Jones also got close to 1,000 yards. So those are both promising numbers for those two. Waller and Pascal not as productive, but you could see Waller had a nice amount of touchdowns. We go on to the offensive line, and woof, our tackles had pretty bad years, it must be said. Both of them giving up quite a few sacks. Miller almost won a game, so we might have to look at that pretty quickly. In terms of defense, Corey Littleton was probably our standout defensive player. Sacks, Maurice Hurst got 7 from D-tackle, which is quite good. Our edge rush wasn't really there that much. As you can see, Morgan Fox and Max Crosby getting some sacks between them. In terms of interceptions, you can see Corey Littleton got 4 picks this year, which for a middle linebacker is really quite impressive. After him, Mike Hilton, we saw him get those 2 picks late on in the season, and then a bunch of players with 1. But obviously as a team, we didn't get nearly enough interceptions. Kicking wise, Carlson 18 of 20, 90% overall, pretty good.
So the Cardinals here, and the offense wasn't as good as I would hope that it would have been. Only about 20th in the league, but at least it's not terrible. The rushing yards are a bit better than average, so that's always good to see, but the pass yards were a bit down with only 3,693. The points per game is definitely better than Chris's, but it's not great, as it's sitting quite low there in terms of that. The passing touchdowns are better, so that's about average there. The rush touchdowns, though, you can see only 13 puts us joint 4th there. And in terms of first downs, if you compare with Chris's, we have the exact same, and you never want to be the exact same as them. On defense, we were much better. The 5th best in terms of yards. In passing yards, we're 3rd. Rush yards were a bit worse. In fact, we're below average there. But in terms of points allowed, where it really matters, You see Chris's terrible team at the top there. We are instead down here, which is above average. Sacks, we are about above average again. We had a lot of interceptions, so it's good to see. Well, I thought we did, but that was quite average apparently. And in turnovers, I'm guessing we're quite even here. Yeah, -3 with 12 interceptions and 4 fumbles lost compared to the 2 fumble recoveries and defensive interceptions at 11. The player stats, you can see that Kyler had a much better year than Dank Memes, which you would surely hope for, as he throws about the same passing touchdowns but much fewer interceptions there. David Johnson led the team in terms of rushing, but his performances weren't great, and he did split the carries quite a bit with Kenyon Drake, but he got hurt. In receiving, we have 2 1,000-yard receivers, and Christian Kirk had 13 touchdowns. I did not realize that he had that many. That is really good and might earn him a chance for an upgrade to superstar. Jordan Hicks led us in tackles. He also had 1.5 sacks. He is going to stay as our starter in middle linebacker. In terms of interceptions, Buda Baker had 4. Pat Pete had 2. I'm going to wait to try and re-sign Pat Pete after he regresses because he should be cheaper. But I will want to keep him around for 1 more year to see what he can give us. In terms of sacks, Zach Allen led the team with 8. Chandler Jones with 7.5, Armstead with 6.5, and Birdlaws comes in with 13 tackles for loss, 5.5 sacks. So our top pick there had a very good rookie campaign, and we're going to see if it's good enough to get him Rookie of the Year.
So here are the Pro Bowl players. You can see that the teams are led by Trubisky and Mayfield, which is interesting considering where we are in the real world right now. Brady and Carr. Derek Carr made the list for the AFC team. Of course, we traded him away, so he's rubbing it in our faces now. In terms of players we got into the Pro Bowl, well, Nick got 2 receivers, Christian Kirk and Robbie Anderson, as well as a couple defensive players. You can see all these players right here, right now. We didn't get any O-linemen, but we did get some pass rushers. For me, it's Maurice Hurst here was the starting D tackle. He is our one and only player in the Pro Bowl, unfortunately, but that comes with the territory of going 4-12. For Nick, he also got Chandler Jones as a backup outside linebacker and a safety here, Buda Baker, the starting free safety for the NFC team. So a pretty decent performance for Pro Bowl players for Nick, and a pretty poor one for the Raiders and me. But with that said, let's move on to see who wins the Super Bowl. Before we go into the Super Bowl result, let's first announce the yearly awards. You can see that Andrew Luck is the MVP of the season for the 13-1-2 Chargers, with Trubisky coming in second. For Coach of the Year, Anthony Lynn, the Chargers again. Get that. And John Gruden, who is now with the Dallas Cowboys, is second place. Did me or Nick get on there? Seems not. Did any of our players get near the MVP? It seems not. So moving on to the awards, we'll start with my players and the AFC. I highly doubt there's a Raider on here. There is not. Defensive Player of the Year, there is a Raider. Corey Littleton comes in 7th. He is recognized for his 4 picks and quite a few tackles, which I'm glad about. This one's the big one, and Memes did not get it. Jeremy McDowell is your Offensive Rookie of the Year for the Bengals. Memes comes in a lowly 3rd place. as Arsenio Vengarino. Vengario, I should say his name right, is in 9th as well. Somehow he got on there. Defensive Rookie of the Year then, Steelers Travis Douglas. Did we get a Raider on here? We did. Walder Bray comes in 8th, so a couple of our first round picks showing up at least. Best QB was Memes on here? Absolutely not. Best running back was Jacobs on here? No. Wide receivers, was there a Raider? No. O-line, was there a Raider? No. D-line, this one should be. Max Crosby got on there. And somehow Hurst did not. That's quite odd, considering Hurst definitely had a better year. Linebackers. Littleton on there again, he's in 8th. And finally DBs. No Raiders. Kickers. Carlson, no, we're number 1, baby! And if you could have anyone at any position be the best in your conference, you would want it to be kicker. No doubt, 100%. So now I'll pass over to Nick to take you through the NFC awards.
So in the NFC, Mitch Trubisky is the Offensive Player of the Year, which is obviously going to happen in real life next year, naturally. Rodgers and Wilson give him the run for the money. Defensive Player of the Year, Aaron Donald, on the 5-9-2 Rams, still manages to probably be the only good player on that team. Same goes for Eric Kendricks with the lowly 5-10-1 Vikings. And Khalil Mack has a good year. Offensive Rookie of the Year, I see Billy Cool. His 5th for the Cardinals. I don't know when we selected. It was late in the draft. I don't think he played at all. But somehow the 59 overall tight end, who has 59 catching, is 5th for the Rookie of the Year, which gives me good hope that the Defensive Rookie of the Year is Bird Laws, which hopefully means he gets Star Dev, because that would mean he will develop into a much better player and won't just linger around the low 80s, which we would love to see him maybe even climb into the 90s. QB, I imagine Kyler, yeah, he's 7th, which is decent, I guess. Beaten out by Mullins and Bridgewater, so hopefully we can beat them out in the coming years. At running back, I doubt we have anyone here, and we don't. Receiver, that's good to see. Christian Kirk with his 13 touchdown year has got that. And Robbie Anderson comes in 7th. I expected him to be a bit higher, to be honest. But anyway. O-line, I'm not imagining, yeah, dominated by Cowboys and the Eagles there. The D-line, Aaron Donald, of course. And we have no one. Linebacker, Jones is there, 3rd place. Good to see him on the list. DB, I expected to see that, but I thought he might be a bit higher. Unfortunately, Bradbury must have caught about 10 picks from Chris in that Panthers game. So he beats out Buda Baker for the best DB. And kicker, we do not have the top. We don't have anywhere near the top kicker. That might be a bit concerning. I have to check those stats. Okay, so Rosas, the stats aren't as bad as that would have made you think. He did miss within the 29 from only one attempt, which is worrying. But he did make all his extra points, so that makes up for it, I guess. It's just he made no field goals from 50 yards or more, which is probably warranting of not being the kicker, but he's very consistent under 50. So I'm going to give him another chance. So as you can see there, Christian Kirk is now a superstar, and we'll just put him in the slot again because he performed so well there before, and we'll upgrade that. Bird Laws, however, does not get the upgrade to his development, so we just get 1 skill point, which does not seem like a suiting reward for being the best rookie. on defense in a whole year. But maybe he can perform well enough to warrant an upgrade.
And Daniel Clutch Carlson gets an upgrade from being the best kicker the world has ever seen. And so we will go power, because that is what we should do. And he just gets awareness, so he essentially didn't get any better. And so Andrew Luck and the I almost said San Diego, Los Angeles Chargers win the Super Bowl in my division. So that's going to be an interesting matchup going forward as they beat the Green Bay Packers 38-20. And that is going to do it for this episode, as we see a haunted Raiders facility with a phone just going around. So yeah, thank you for watching. I've been Chris, joined by Nick. Enjoy, stay safe, and we'll see you next time.